Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest.
Nicole-Marie.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. I always like to start from the beginning, childhood. I always say that childhood kind of charts the trajectory of where we're going to be going in life and all the things. So tell me a little bit about your childhood and kind of how did you kind of find your way into the things that you're doing now with music and everything that you have going on.
Yeah, so I grew up in a big family, Catholic family, and I have three older sisters and two younger brothers. Um, my parents divorced when I was pretty young, 4 or 5. It was kind of a messy divorce. I, Unusually, we all stayed with my father. Um, Typically back then, you stayed with your mother, but we stayed with our father, and we saw our mom uh, on holidays and stuff like that, kind of infrequently because she didn't drive. So we
Mm,
always had to go to her wherever she was. She was a singer. And so, I'm sure I got some of my singing ability from her.
love
And
that.
then, my father, he's musical as well. He plays a harmonica, plays the piano a little bit. He also sings. But I'm probably the most musical person in my immediate family. I have people in my extended family who are very musical and can sing really well as well.
Nice.
Uh, but yeah, that's and I started learning instruments when I started school band in 4th grade. I started with the saxophone.
Nice.
In 8th grade, switched to the clarinet, and then started learning piano around 11, 12, and guitar not till like I was 18 or so.
Very
So
cool.
kind of my
Wow.
musical journey. Yeah.
That's really I've tried to learn the guitar and I just didn't have patience. I was like, I can't do this.
Sometimes I don't have patience for more of the complicated pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. And I read somewhere in your bio, it said that the song that you have, Ocean Breeze. By the way, I love the video. Very beautifully shot and like the location. I have a film background, so I went to
Oh,
school for cinematography. So I really appreciate the visuals a lot. I was like, oh, this is really fun. This is beautiful. So, I read that you said that it was inspired by dental trauma.
yes. So,
Wow.
um,
I
yeah, I
was
have
like,
a
wait,
long,
wait. That's
I
interesting.
have, I have a long history. I mean, I'm sure it's got definitely inspirations from other sources too, but the
Yeah,
initial inspiration was certainly dental trauma. One of my coping skills when I go to the dentist, because I do have dental phobia on some level,
I
but
see.
have needed a lot of work, is to when I'm having to get the shot and get numbed. Of course, I ask for nitrous because I get so anxious to the point of tears.
Oh, aw,
So one of my coping skills while under the influence of nitrous is to channel songs, if you will,
I
and
see.
then just repeat them to myself as I'm being, uh, under the knife or whatever you want to call it, under the drill. So, yeah, so that's how Ocean Breeze came to me, that I was listening to the suction, how they
Love
suction at the
that.
dentist. And I thought, I'm just going to imagine and pretend that's an ocean breeze. I'm at the ocean right now. Then I just started singing the song in my head and I just kept repeating it to myself. And that's how the second verse actually came. And then I think everything else kind of came later. But yeah, that second chorus, which is, I mean, verse is very, very beautiful. That actually Doug Rusk sings. I had him sing that part, but that's what came to me while I was under.
That's
Mhm.
amazing. I have a bit of I'm a bit scared too of like the dentist or just anything with like needles. So when they
Yeah.
put like they stick you, I'm like, oh no. So yeah, totally. That's amazing though that song came out of it. And the process of making that, like, okay, so you get the idea, what's next? What do? You take it to your music partner? Do you guys go in a studio? Like, how long was that process? Coming up with the song and laying down the tracks.
Yeah. So I had originally reached out to Doug Rusk. I found him through an app called Thumbtack. And I don't know if you're familiar with that app, but you can find different people for all sorts of things.
Cool.
And I've had some success finding people for different things. And I used to have a songwriting partner in college, and then we kind of became estranged, and I couldn't use any of the material. So I've always been really, really reluctant to partner with someone again. But I
Yeah.
thought, this song has so much potential beyond the stars. It's just, but I can't figure out what's wrong with it. I need someone else's perspective. So I found Doug on Thumbtack, and he helped me develop Beyond the Stars, and make it such a beautiful song. And then I sent him Ocean Breeze as well. He
Mm,
didn't contribute or make many changes to that song. He did contribute the ooh ooh part, um, which is a cool part of the song. And he said to me, this is a hit song. And I said, "Do you think?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, then, I think I should take it to the studio and, get it done on Pro Tools, which is, of course, the industry standard." So I reached out to different places, and I went through three or four different producers before I found Jonathan Plum
nice.
at London Bridge and Shoreline, which is near Seattle. And he agreed to work with me. He had worked with Brandy Carlisle, and I said, "I want something in the vein of Brandy Carlisle." He said,
Nice.
"Well, I've worked with her." I said, "Okay, let's go." You know. And yeah, so he just contributed his genius because in my mind he has a creative genius, Jonathan Plum. And then I had Doug come in to lay down some guitar and also some vocals on the track. And then I thought, I'd always done my own music videos, very
Wow.
low budget,
That's
uh,
really cool though.
self-made things. And I thought, this song deserves a little more of the extra treatment. So I found Smokescreen Media actually on Thumbtack, the,
Nice.
the same app. And yeah, and they did such a wonderful job, as you said, with the music video. And so I'm going to be doing a new music video with them pretty soon here.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it was beautiful. I mean, it was gorgeous. The location, I was like, where is this place? It's gorgeous. Yeah, it was wow. Very, very nice. Well done. Very well done. Definitely. I also read that, have your mental health therapist specialize in trauma. I'm like, oh my goodness, that is absolutely amazing. Um, because, coming from Hollywood, the background of, being in Los Angeles, and there's a bunch of narcissist people.
Yeah.
It's drawn. People are drawn there. I think
Yeah.
that's where they live. That's where their hub is. And so and it's very interesting because I was curious. Do you think, I mean, that's something that I've always tried to figure out. And why is there so many that are drawn to Hollywood? I mean, I'm just curious to pick your brain about that.
Yeah. Why are so many narcissists drawn to Hollywood?
Yeah, or like they're there. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
well, I
experienced so
think
many.
narcissists tend to be attracted to positions of power and influence and fame and fortune, and
Mm,
Hollywood promises that, right?
yeah, it's
Um,
true.
yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons. Uh, I could say more, but I don't want to go down. I don't know if you want to go down conspiracy road.
Listen, oh yeah. Well, see, this show's only like 30 minutes, but oh
Yeah.
my goodness, I love a good conspiracy conversation. My friends are gonna like laugh. They're like, Here we go, Meosha, here she goes." So yeah, take the floor if you go for it. I'm all ears.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know people that are down there. My sister lives down there. My niece has known a lot of famous people.
Yeah,
My spiritual advisor, has worked with a lot of famous people down there. And there's a dark underbelly to
it
the Hollywood,
is.
very, very dark underbelly there. And um, yeah, I think and it's like a whole system of greed and power and dark, shady stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I think when I'm originally from Florida, so when I first moved to Los
Mhm.
Angeles, um, you know, very green. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, you get there. The first letdown was the Hollywood Boulevard, thinking like on the movies on TV, it was like
Yeah.
beautiful and like it's just a lot of homeless, it's trashy, it's not exactly what it says it was. And I'm just thinking like, wait a minute, you know. So like it was just I had a different view. And then I think after COVID is when my perception of it really changed. Being that I had had experiences with different people that were just very, like you said, dark. And it's
Yes.
kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to be quite honest.
The
Um,
energy there is a little dark. Yeah.
yeah, it's true that I do believe that there are energetically like places that you go, right? Like different places, you feel like the overall energy in that you know what I mean? Like,
Yes. That one hotel, what's it called? Where the girl who got killed in the water tower. Oh,
oh yes,
that's a dark place. And
yeah,
that's also where the Richard Ramirez, I think that was his name, um,
yes,
was staying at the time he was doing his killings. It's
wow.
dark energy over there. Yeah.
Wow. How do you spot, like, for instance, like like would you say how would you spot in a relationship or in friendships a narcissist?
Yeah. Well, if they don't take accountability, responsibility for their problems in a relationship or partnership, if they always are blaming the other person and take zero accountability, that's one warning sign. Another one is if they steal your ideas and pass them off as their own.
Wow.
That's another sign. If they just seem to like the sound of their own voice and just keep talking, and it seems to be about nothing.
Right.
Or they cut people off, or they have to always get in their 10 cents so that other people can't speak. They always have to be
Yeah.
the center of attention. um
Wow.
Another
That's
sign. I mean, I could go on and on with all the red flags there.
that's so scary. Ah, but it's a real thing. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I have a fun question for you. This is back to music for you.
Yeah.
I'm really like, oh, I want to know more.
I
Um,
love the metaphysical stuff though, so it's okay to talk. That goes into my music, as you've probably discovered.
Yes, 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 it does. And yeah, I have so many questions for that too. But a really fun question for you. If you could perform with any artist, living or dead, who would you perform with and why?
Oh my gosh, that's such a big question. There's so many artists that I would love to perform with. I'm a big fan of Eva Cassidy, and she's gone now, but
Oh,
I would love to perform with her, work with her. I'm kind of inspired by Ed Sheeran,
oh, I love it. Oh,
yeah, John Denver, Alanis Morissette, Prince,
nice.
um, who else? Michael W. Smith, all my influencers. I probably want to perform with. Uh, yeah, I mean, probably some people way back in history, if I could go all the way back, like Mozart or
Oh, wow. That
Chopin and all those people.
that's a
I want to
first.
work with all of them. Yeah.
Love that. I love that. Every guest I've asked, I've never heard Mozart. That is amazing. You could,
Oh, I'm surprised you haven't heard Mozart.
yes.
Beethoven. Oh, love him even more than Mozart.
I love that. I love it. So, another question I love to ask people, and there's no wrong answer, but the three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you could choose one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
Oh, definitely respect. I
Love that.
think um I think everybody wants to be respected as like a basic human being. And
Right.
often we don't even get that
That's
in
true.
this society, whereas power and what was the other one? Money
Money, yes.
come and go, you
Yeah,
know.
it's true.
Once somebody respects you, they tend to always respect you, typically, unless you're tricking them or your personality changes. But yeah, I think that's like just a basic human right for most of us is being able to get respect and give respect to those who deserve it. But yeah,
Yeah,
I won't get
exactly.
into that.
No, please do. Please go there. I'm listening. This is great. I'm learning a lot. I really am. I'm jotting down things like to keep in mind. I find it amazing because with your music, and some of the lyrics that you were saying, like I said that you talked about, expand the metaphor to like the demonic presence in the world, and that is true. I think now we're living in such a crazy time, but I think with music, it's so healing.
Yes.
So thank you for doing that and sharing that. Do you feel like that you're also being healed from your like putting, with your own music?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. And it's something I say to as a therapist as well for people to write their own books or paint their own paintings or drawings or write their own songs or, express themselves creatively because that's very healing.
Right.
Creativity is such a healing thing and music, especially music is like a universal language that all people can understand. So it's so very healing and that I'm hoping that's what Ocean Breeze does for people is it's healing and it brings people together. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It is very healing. And it's a great time too. I mean, with all the things that are happening around the world, this, I don't know if you're a political person, but I try to stay away from it with these interviews, but I mean, I just can't help but see what's going on in the world. It's like, what's going to happen? And you're just like, Lord God, please keep us in this crazy time that we're living in. Um, because it's like, what do we do? So we need music like that. Cause I feel like the music industry, which I think is in the same field as what film. It's like, I think entertainment altogether, it's very anti-God. Do you feel that is it that way?
Oh
Like
yeah.
the
I think
mainstream?
purposely, I think there's actually a satanic base to a lot of it, Luciferian satanic base to a lot of it. And
Mm,
how can you can't get more anti-God than that.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the basis of most of film and music. And I think that's changing. I think we're seeing a changing of the guard, if you will, and
Yes.
old institutions crumbling and hopefully better, more God-centered, God-filled ones will rise.
Right.
And I'm hoping that that's changing in music and in film. Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking about film, I was talking to an actress friend of mine, and she was talking about we kind of touched on a little bit of Christian films and how she was telling me, in her town, she was like they make a lot of Christian movies, but they have like they get like big budgets, like 3 million, 4 million, and I'm
Whoa.
thinking, wow, I have to make a Christian film,
What town
because.
does she live in?
Right. I was like, wait a minute. They're getting this. I'm like, where are they getting the budget? And she's like, well, maybe from churches and different, like,
Oh,
things like
okay.
that. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. But she's like, what's sad is that the Christian film world isn't really taken seriously because
Yeah.
there's a lot of work to be done. I've seen a few Christian films. I'm just like, wowza, we have some work to do. So I feel like we could. I don't know. It's so crazy. It's like they have the tools, but it's like it's not fall by the wayside. I just wonder how do we compete? Like how do you get that on the mainstream versus like on like in the like how any like a Barbie film would get global attention.
Right.
So I guess
Yeah.
you
Well, I
right.
think there's a suppression and oppression of anything Christian, and they're
Yes.
either there's I think there's interference, we'll say, on a physical plane and also on a spiritual level. I believe we're in a spiritual war. So I feel like, any
Yeah.
Christian projects or voices get attacked or censored or oppressed or suppressed or, um, yeah. Or just like what happened with Sound of Freedom. I know that's not
Oh
exactly
man.
Christian, but it took years for that to even come out, even though it was ready. And it went from studio to studio and it just kept getting suppressed till it
Which
finally.
makes you think, like you said, there has to be the people, the gatekeepers must be you know, evil, or
Yeah.
are just not on the team team God, apparently, or good.
Yes.
So
Anti-God or whatever
anti,
they say God, but they're talking about a different God.
absolutely. How do you, as far as like with music, like getting your music out there, because there's so much, like, eh, when you put your song out, how do you do, like, market and put it on like certain streams? I mean, because it's so much to compete with out there.
Yes. I mean, to tell you the truth, I've been very bad at it. That's why most people don't know who I am. And I've been doing music for uh, 20 plus years.
Wow.
So, I I know that you have to do certain things
Mhm.
to get big, if you will, to make it in music. I'm not willing to do those things. I mean, I'm willing to pay like a PR firm like
For
Starlight
sure.
and artist PR and stuff like that, which is this is the first time I've done that. And I think that's okay to do. But I
Mhm.
also know that if you want to get to the highest levels of success, you've got to do some shady stuff. I'm not doing that. I
Have
refuse.
Have you been approached?
Kind of. I took voice lessons with this one gal, and she was trying to get me to do demonic chants.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I stopped answering her call after
Wow.
that. And I was like, and I actually, that's the song that I'm going to do the next music video on, Audience of One, that inspired that song, that experience. Cause I was like, you know what? Um, no, if my only audience is Jesus, I'll take that over selling my soul.
I love that. I love that. I
Yeah.
think that's admirable. And I mean, we have to stand for something, right?
Yeah.
You know, I absolutely love that. I know definitely the devil is in the business for sure. I seen it with my own eyes. I went to this art gallery. I met this girl at an art gallery, and she invited me to this, art party, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure. I show up, and it was like straight of a horror movie. It was like,
Oh
this
no.
is I could not believe it. It felt like I was in a Stanley Kubrick's film Eyes Wide Shut. And I was
Yeah.
like, I got to get out of here.
That's supposedly a documentary, by the way.
Yes. Yes. Right. Eyes wide. It's really interesting. And I tell people, like, yeah, you don't have to do the things. You don't have to join or do any of that stuff, but you definitely have to, just keep God first, because I've walked away from a lot of jobs and I was like super sad, but God makes a way. He really does.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, I'm a kind of a PK kid, so I have a good
Oh,
foundation, thankfully.
that's good. Yeah, I grew up with a grandmother. It's very, very
Nice.
spiritual, very, very devout, and just very giving and charitable. And I think I chose her as my mother, uh,
Oh,
my spiritual mother in this lifetime.
I love that. I think that's awesome. So, fun question.
Mhm.
You get to the pearly gates of heaven, and like you meet God. What do you want God to say about what you've done on earth?
That I met my purpose, that I met my goal, and that's his goal, his will, not mine, that I did what I was supposed to do. Because what are we doing here if we're not fulfilling our dharmic path, our purpose? What's the point, if we're not doing
Mhm.
what we're supposed to? So I just hope that he says, yeah, job well done. You did what
Absolutely.
you're supposed to.
I love that. I love that. So you would say you found your purpose.
Music, healing, yeah, both of them. Hopefully, I can integrate the two at some point. I know music is healing. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
do
yeah.
use music in my therapy, but I mean, integrate the two in a way that works for me and a way that works for others as well.
I read also that you were inspired by I think you said Kim Clement prophetic
Yes.
writings. And I was like, wow, my mother loves loves Kim Clement.
Oh,
And
really?
oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, most people
Um,
don't know who I'm talking about.
oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was sad. He's sadly no longer with us anymore, but
Yeah.
yeah, I remember watching when I was younger some of his singing and like he would I mean he was just so anointed and just very like
Yeah.
he when I saw that I was like it jumped out. I was like, wow, Kim Clement. I haven't I was very surprised to see that as someone that is inspired
A lot of his
by you.
prophecies have come true. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Like
he was obviously a prophet.
had to be, right? Because
Mhm.
like it's like it, but what for me it's when I did see Kim Clement, like a lot of his prophecies like you said came come to life. And what do you think you have to what level do you have to be at to get to that level of do you think any Christian could get to that level of like to know to hear God so clearly prophetically?
I think we're all given different gifts of the Spirit, right? So for
Yeah.
some, it is the gift of prophecy. For others, it's the gift of discernment. And so I feel like I guess you could get there if God allows it, and that's the gift He gave you. But maybe He
Mhm.
gave you a different gift, and you're supposed to do that, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
That's cool. Any advice for anyone that like listeners that want to get into the music world or or even in your profession that you do?
Yes. Oh, do you mean mental health?
Yes, 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 yes.
Oh, mental health. I think the mental health business is going to change. I think
Mm.
people are going to more look inward rather than to someone else for their peace and, for their look to their intuition rather than some expert or counselor or therapist. So, but, um, but yeah, if you're going to get into that, just know what you're in for. It's a hard job, but it is high in demand. So we are looking for people who can certainly do it. And then the other thing of music is write, just write a lot. If you want to, or practice a lot, I feel like if you write 100 songs, 10 will be good, right? So
Wow.
just keep writing is what I'm going to say. Cause I've written some really bad songs. I've written so much that I start to know, okay, this one's good. This one's probably not very good. And just write a lot. Don't give up and just keep
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's great advice. Just keep writing. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on. It goes by so fast, I tell you this.
Yeah.
It's like we have literally like 5 minutes, like a couple minutes left. But where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, if you go to my main webpage, which is Nicole-Marie-music.com, and if you go to my press kit page, it has all my social media links there.
Nice. Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank you.
coming on and sharing your amazing story and congratulations to the new song Ocean Breeze. Everyone go listen to it, watch the video, follow and all the good things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again. And thank you all for listening and always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.